All right, Ben, this is a good one. All right, so we've talked about budget. We try to establish as a team a budget, right? So I'm asking you and your firm, hey, do you think this appliance budget is realistic?
Or plumbing or stone or tile or anything.
Yes. Okay. So we think we're there, but what really happens from that point?
Yeah.
And then during construction as y'all are shopping?
Again, I try to build in a little romance to this. You know, one of the things when we're looking at a budget, we have comps. We have homes of similar size or in similar areas or similar styles. Or the clients have given us some signals that they're interested in a certain amount of price point of this, or they've shown us inspiration images where we get a better understanding. When we're working with a contractor and we're the architect and interior designer, we work really hard to make sure that those allowances are healthy, decent, realistic allowances. And in most cases, we do a very good job on that. Therefore, less bad surprises when we go in for plumbing shopping and the client and ends up in budget and or sometimes below budget, sometimes maybe a little bit above, and can have conversations with the client about like, let's cost engineer if you want us to stay on budget, or like, are you comfortable again just proceeding forward? But when we take a client out shopping, let's say for stone, it's very hard to predict what they're going to pick from an aesthetic reason. And in a lot of cases, they also don't know when they're shopping that what they're looking at, what they're falling in love with is how that's going to affect the budget that has been set aside. We will only know after we've done stone selections and it goes back to the contractor gets their subcontractor to update pricing, an estimate back for what the client selected. And in some cases, it's like, surprise, wow, they chose a really, really expensive stone. And we need to know how to respond to that. Is it, again, client, are you comfortable with going extra in this category because it's something you really, truly love? Or do we need to come up with some solutions to cost engineer the selection schedule in order to bring it in budget? So a lot of times when we're shopping for stone as an example in the budget, I often try to have the clients, if budget is a concern to them, I have them identify what stone is their favorite stone. And if the stone yard and stone provider is telling us and signaling that this is a very expensive stone, I say, okay, client, let's make sure that is there another stone that would be less expensive that gives us kind of the look, could be your second choice. And we often will note what their second choice is, just in case we get some unpleasant news on the back end of it.
Yes, and I've seen you work through the builder, sometimes, me, good example, to where you or your team is saying, hey, can you call your countertop fabricator? The names of this material, they're all different, according to each supplier. So it's just sort of a mystery. But I think what I've learned from you is tap into the resource who can then explore.
It's true.
Like to me, you know what? I'm going to add a budget. Now that I'm listening, it's going to be called the exploratory budget. Because here's the thing, and we've all seen it. Clients do explore because it's exciting and it means something to them. And we don't know the order of magnitude. Is it like $10,000 of exploring, or is this like a $500,000 of exploring in the way they think?
The client is often some of the source of the growth and shrinking of allowances throughout that process.
So what's amazing is you took the whole concept full circle. Sometimes what we see can happen is we get feedback and we see the group stop. But that's the brilliance in working with you, right?
You have to keep moving.
You have to keep moving, right? So you brought it for full circle, and now they can land.
Yes, and I will say, can't predict how people are going to respond or how they're going to make decisions. You can do your best to kind of give them what they want, but ultimately, you and I are in the service industry. Mm-hmm. We are there to serve. I think sometimes people in the design industry maybe see themselves maybe a little bit differently, but for me, I have to go along that journey with the client to really make sure that they are investing their resources in a way that they're most comfortable with and that is going to yield the best result. Keep that process moving. Keep the decision-making happening, or again, the project stalls out.
And sometimes you read too. I've seen you do this where they may tell you something, but there's another part you hear, like, we should keep this.
Well, I've seen you do it too. And then again, that just goes to years of experience and watching homeowners grapple with these decisions. And remember, I would say this, in the process of a residential builder and a residential architect and interior design firm, you are dealing with these people's discretionary income.
Yes.
It is money they have worked for, saved for, invested. It can be a very sensitive subject. And a lot of people's egos are invested in how they build their homes and the decisions that they make. So you have to navigate a lot of emotion, and you have to navigate what are their motivating factors and what is the real goal here. And then you have to help guide them through that process.
Mm-hmm. And there's an instinct to it.
Yeah, there is.
And a full respect, like you said. These people have worked their whole lives to be able to build something like this.
Yeah.
And there's a respect that we exchange.
It has to be.
During the process. Exploratory budget, cost code 30.15.